Did de Marchelier confirm?
De Marchelier?
De Marchelier? Did he get him on the phone?
Okay.
And Emily?
Yes?
That's all.
Anne Hathaway's character in The Devil Wears Prada, remember that? Is judged for her frumpy look in the office. And here with us now, CEO of Metropolitan Capital Advisors, Karen Finerman, who uses the film to illustrate why women should stop dressing down and start using their sexuality. That's just one of the tips for success in her new book, Finerman's Rules, Secrets I'd Only Tell My Daughters About Business and Life. And I already like her because she sits down, we've never met, and she goes, God, I'm reading your book, my last book, not the one that's out now, Knowing Your Value. And she goes, I was getting so pissed off at you. So I made you angry.
You did. I was furious.
Talk to me. Breaking all the rules?
The common thing you talk about, not being your own advocate and being apologetic when you go in.
Isn't it exhausting?
It is exhausting, and I think, women need to realize there is no other advocate. You are in charge of your life.
Exactly.
And that's not how we go into things. We sort of think there's a right way to be, and
we back into things, and we sort of hem and haw and apologize our way in, thinking we're going to make everyone feel comfortable and then get what we want. It does not work.
It absolutely doesn't work.
I found that out 4 times over. But let's get to your book, Finerman's Rules, Secrets I'd Only Tell My Daughters About Business Life. Well, tell us. And tell us about, we've been teasing this, but using your sexuality and talking about the way you dress. Is there an explanation to this?
There is absolutely an explanation. It is certainly not.
Because I'm getting angry.
Okay, it is certainly not that. It's that, look, you're women in the workplace. It is different than being a man.
That's right.
We all know that. It is different. So you need to put a little effort into it, I think, and not try to dress like a man, be like a man, and pretend you're a man. And for me, going into Wall Street, when you first go into the field, there's a lot of different places you can go. And so you can look at different industries that you want to follow. If you follow the retail space, and you look at retail companies, most of the analysts there are actually women. But if you look at companies that are industrials, energy, things like that, they're mostly men. So I figure, you know what? I got to go where the men are. I have a much better chance of standing out. And so when I go to an industrial conference, the ratio of men to women is 9 to 1, 10 to 1. So I always feel like, you know what? I got a little bit of a better shot here getting the attention of a male CEO.
Right.
And I sort of, use a little flattery. I care. I hang on every word he's going to say because I'm trying to research these companies.
That actually
I want to understand. There's a guy out there who doesn't love to have someone,
Exactly.
And so I sort of feel like, it's just math. Go where you're going to have much more value. And for me, that's sort of, being a woman, and particularly going into the fields that are more male-dominated as an analyst.
Okay, and when you say choosing a mentor, pick a man. Avoid single, middle-aged women?
Yes, I know it. Look, I'm not trying to be PC, obviously, but what I'm trying to...
No, you're not.
I understand, and I get a lot of backlash, and I understand it. But pick a man. If you're in a male-dominated field, it's just math again. Pick a man. That's going to be more helpful to you. There are going to be a lot more men that can help you. There are going to be a lot more men, period. So the likelihood of your finding someone who can be a mentor to you is much higher than it's going to be a man. But I do say pick a man that has daughters if you can.
Right.
That's particularly helpful. They see you. They see their daughters in you.
I love your 6 steps. We're going to get to open the conversation to the Mississippi governor because I want to hear you all about that. But 6 steps to making better decisions. Frame the problem. Take your emotions out of the equation. I think that's really great advice. Know your options. Look for the 51% solution. Prioritize what needs to be decided now. And cut your losses. What's the most important one of all of those? If you have to pick one. I'd say it's the emotion.
The emotion is absolutely important. And we all know, some women wonder, okay, can I control my emotions? And if any of you are married and you've ever gotten in a fight with your husband, but you try to pretend everything's fine for the sake of your kids, that happens to every woman, right? you can get it together.
Yeah.
So get it together, and that's one thing actually women can learn from men. Men are very good at compartmentalizing.
Oh, yeah.
And it does a few things. It helps, frame the problem in a way that you just focus on what exactly is the issue. You don't turn it into, and you do this, and you do that.
You call it compartmentalizing, I call it forgetting everything. But okay.
Yeah, what about Sheryl Sandberg in her book Lean In talks about crying at work all the time.
For me, never cry, ever.
Death.
Never.
Death.
Death.
Crying at work,
Absolutely
absolute death. Absolute
It is death. And then the other time was 9/11, which that's a whole
different thing. Yeah. But the bottom line is, if you're crying about something at work, you have completely lost your perspective on things.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I also think absolutely losing control. Going, screaming, losing control. And I actually think starting to swear is the beginning of letting yourself unravel.
Right.
Well, also, if you lose control or raise your voice, because men can at work, unfortunately, I think we're up against a stigma, a stereotype that we need to still work on bucking, and that is that we appear to be unleashed in a way that applies to a stigma that perhaps may not be fair. So we have to be more controlled, more focused, more disciplined, and more tough, I think, when we're on the job.
But let me just go back to one point, which is the 51% solution. And what that means is a lot of times you're going to be making very, very difficult decisions where there's a lot of pluses and minuses in each side's favor. And you have to recognize that you got to find a solution that works 51% of the time or more. And expect to feel some ambiguity or some uncertainty about the decision you've made. Doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. It just shows you made a complicated decision.
If you can stay, I'd like you to stay a block to talk about a few other stories. The book is Finerman's Rules, Secrets I'd Only Tell My Daughters About Business Life. You can read an excerpt on our blog, mojo.msnbc.com. Karen Finerman, thank you very much. I'm sorry I made you so angry. Did you finish the book?
Of course.
Were you happy at the end?
I was, and it resolved it a little bit before the end. So that was, I was just...
I was worried about that sexuality at the moment. Before I remembered actually that when Helen Gurley Brown was famously asked, "What do you think about sleeping with your boss?" she replied, "Why exclude him?" So I thought, oh no, we're going back in that direction.
Here we go.
I think men are emotional, by the way. I don't agree that women are. On my experience, it's the men. They have so much passive aggression very often that
They're
just...
coming off as big babies lately. We'll talk about the Mississippi governor in just a moment. Up next, speaking about powerful women, Michelle Obama pushes back hard against a heckler. We'll show you what she said when she came face to face with a person in the crowd. Keep it right here on Morning Joe.